On this episode of Beyond the Blueprint, how can you use organic shapes and alternative materials to create a unique yacht design?
A lot of elements come together in the dunes. The wind and the sand that are actually transforming the landscape every day. All those lines are actually interacting. That is exactly what I try to do.
Two yacht designers.
And such a clever use of space.
Countless breathtaking features.
This is exactly what our owners are looking for.
That feeling of James Bond is something we can use for our yacht.
Here we have the layout.
One ultimate design challenge.
What do you think about that?
I really would like to do that.
And this wine cellar is completely private.
This is Beyond the Blueprint.
So, Thijs, in our studio, we are always looking at materials as designers, building materials, different kinds, exclusive materials, but also sustainable. And we did a concept a few years ago, which was, for me, an awesome concept. And a very, very big link towards materials on that one.
When you design a concept, you have the opportunity to share the vision you have with the world. So the goals we set was to actually create a yacht that has a minimal impact on the environment. The inspiration for the yacht that we set was inspired by nature and driven by clean technology.
Right.
And hopefully we can change how the yachting industry is actually thinking about certain materials, for example.
Super interesting. What are the main materials that we're using in the yacht industry?
Basically, metal, glass, and wood. So if we start with metal, the hull and the superstructure are created usually from steel and aluminium.
Yeah, right.
And then, of course, they are faired and painted. And maybe in the future, we can also use solar paints like we proposed for concept dunes.
Exactly.
So when you go back to the past, you see that windows were a lot smaller than
Yes,
today.
indeed.
What you see today is that we actually clad complete superstructures with glass. Like Feadship Venus, for example.
Yeah.
You worked on that one as well.
Very cool, yeah.
It has very large panels, 10 meters each, I believe. But it is also possible to use curved glass and even double curved glass. In swimming pools, you can also see what we can do actually with glass. We make it flat and then we curve it, and the effect you create is super nice.
It's unbelievable that they can make it like that.
The next step in glass, I would say, is with structural glass. If you look at, for example, a wheelhouse or a forward observation.
Yeah, it gives so much possibilities for design. So, materials on dunes, what were you thinking about when you were thinking about the decking?
If you look at the outlines, the organic outlines of Feadship dunes, which look a little bit like that, then you have topographical lines that actually follow the superstructure like that. Now then, there are different objects on the deck, like for example a pool with an organic shape as well. Now maybe there's a seating around that as well.
Of course.
And then also around those objects, topographical lines will start appearing. What I did is I applied maple wood around the pool. I also did that with the outlines of the deck. What you create with your decking system is a lot of natural coherence. Now, of course, this goes on and on through the design.
So everything comes from your starting point.
Yeah, from the starting point. So you add in the lines again. You just go on and on with creating natural coherence. But I think if you really want to understand where this inspiration is coming from, we need to go to the place where it all started. What do you think?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm really curious. Me too. So let's go.
Tanno, you wouldn't really guess when looking at this peaceful landscape that we're actually standing on one of the most high-tech water filtration systems in the world that actually provides millions of people with the cleanest water.
Yeah, that's awesome indeed. How does that work?
Well, actually, rain and river water is brought into the dunes, where it is cleaned through several months. And nowhere in the world this is being done on such a large scale and so efficient as here, right here in the Netherlands.
It's such a beautiful environment. Talking about the environment, you have designed and built your own house.
Yeah, quite nearby, we've designed and built actually our house, which is built from sustainable materials. We used a lot of wood, for example. The house itself has a post beam construction with a lot of glass. And we enjoy the light and the views, of course, but also the fact that we contribute to a sustainable future.
That's amazing, man. Cool.
It is.
The environment over here is amazing, isn't it? If you look at all these birds, it's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really beautiful. We have nightingales, we have blue throats, and one of my favorite sights actually is a kestrel that is soaring motionless.
Yeah, that's amazing.
In the sea breeze. And if you're lucky, you might even see a short-eared owl.
Really?
Yeah, that is gliding silently through daylight.
That's great.
Yeah. A lot of elements come together in the dunes. For example, the static elements of the very old trees, but also the element of the wind and the sand that's actually transforming the landscape every day.
And it shapes really the dunes around us.
Yeah, indeed. If you look at that way, for example, you can see how the sand has transformed the dunes. It's just beautiful to look at, don't you think so?
Absolutely. Oh, fantastic. Yeah. That's exactly what you mean.
So this is what I'm talking about. You see how natural these lines are actually flowing around this little hill there?
Yeah.
It's really nicely shaping around it.
So because of the wind, it really takes shape. It really forms itself towards this beautiful subtle form.
Yeah, indeed. So all those lines are actually interacting with the little bumps that are here. And that is exactly what I try to do.
This is the inspiration. It's fantastic to see that in real life. So let's see how it looks in almost real life then. Let's go back to the studio.
Let's go.
So Thijs, that was cool. Really in your own habitat, you know. It's super interesting and fascinating to see how that works. So can you tell me a bit more about the end result?
As you now understand, let's say, the inspiration is coming from the masterpieces sculpted by the forces of nature, like the ripples in the sand we saw. You can see that, for example, when you look at the top view, you see the organic lines and flow of the design, and you see the crease running from front to the back. Also, for example, if you walk up the transom stairs from the swing platform up, it sweeps nicely up, and then you arrive on the oasis of the yacht, basically, made with organically shaped pool and a nice seating area. And if you look at the decking system there, you see that I applied the topographical deck. So we have this very nice and natural coherence. Another cool thing on dunes is the side decks are pretty wide. They're not only a passageway, but they also become a destination themselves. If you look at the exterior design, for example, we created a sun pad and then with a dive in the side profile, so you actually create a viewing line from there. Now, if we go a little bit higher up in the yacht, we see the gigantic rotating mast.
Yeah, that's such a cool.
It's a feature that you can't miss, basically. It's a really cool hideout with a splendid view, but it's also used to actually cool the pavilion deck, so that is the upper deck, in a passive way. And we do that by extracting unused cool air from the core. So the mast rotates into the wind and creates a under pressure in the back. And that's how it can actually extract the
That's
air
awesome.
from the lower part, the cooler parts of the yacht.
Very smart.
This principle is done in houses in the desert as well.
So what were the biggest challenges in this concept for you as a designer?
Of course, it's a concept design and we need to start carte blanche. So you have to find inspiration for the context, the goal, and the inspiration for your exterior design. Then you have to bring that all together and prove to yourself you're able to pull it off.
Starting off with a blank sheet of paper, as you said, with all the intelligence and all the know-how that we have in the studio, but also within Feadship, within our engineering. It is fantastic to combine that. And yeah, well, you know, it is so magical that we can do something with the creativity that we're having, the knowledge that we're having, and we make groundbreaking designs and in the end, groundbreaking Feadships.
Thank you very much.